Hey, funny homies, it's time for episode 20 of season 5 of the Fake Football Guys show. On today's episode, we discuss this week's waiver wire, ads, drops, and it's time for the fantasy playoffs. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of the Fake Football Guys show. I'm your host, Giancarlo Campos, and alongside me is the best co-host of all time, the number one White Sox fan in all the land, Dustin DL Lingerman. What's up, DL?
What's up, my guy? Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you want to break the good news?
Yeah, the White Sox they won the lottery, and we have the number one pick in the draft this year. Super excited. And you were talking about Rock Balowski.
Rock Kalowski. If that's not the most Chicago name of all time, Rock Kalowski is going to be he's the projected number one pick. He's a shortstop. They're saying he's basically the next Bobby Witt. We'll see what happens, but good for the White Sox. First they get the Pope. Well, first they get Jerry Reinsdorf out, then they get the Pope, and now the number one pick in the MLB draft. Good for you guys. Hopefully
good Lord. Good Lord knows.
Good. At least you'll have something. You'll have the shiniest turd in the toilet bowl, you know?
Yeah. Hey, you got something. It's better than what it has been.
I usually don't talk shit about the South Side, but in this case, all is fair in love and war, right?
Yeah. Well, at least we're together for the season.
That's right. That's the only team that, them and the Bulls, that the South Side and the North Side come together for.
Blackhawks, too.
Yeah, that's right. DL.
Yeah.
A jam-packed show as always. Before we get to that, I went to the mall. I had to do some last-minute shopping for my coworkers. I was a part of a Secret Santa, and we're revealing gifts tomorrow. So when I was at the mall, I haven't been in the mall in probably over a year, and there's people at Woodfield Mall. It's a huge mall, probably like the third biggest in the nation.
Yeah, that's my old hang, bro.
Yeah, I used to work there. I used to work at the Gap. Yeah.
He's working at H&M.
There you go. We're right next to each other. We didn't even know it. What's up? Okay, so anyways, I'm walking by. I have my headphones in so that no one messes with me. And sure enough, one of these people at this kiosk waves me down. It was like this young 18, 19-year-old girl. I was like, what's going on? She's like, hey, look, you're the last customer. I just want to do a demonstration. Can I just do a demonstration? I was like, sure. She put this lotion shit beneath my eye, and she was like, it was coming out like some little vial or something, and the whole thing just went on my face. And she goes, oh, I'm so sorry. My face is stiff on this side because of this, whatever the hell she did. So I can't move. It's like this. I can't move. It's crazy. Awesome. But that really happened. Yeah, that really happened. But that's not why you're here, y'all. We made it to the playoffs. Yeah, that really happened. It's crazy. My whole fucking face. It's crazy. Yeah, we made it to the fantasy playoffs. It's week 15. And a lot of the phony homies have been reaching out saying, well, who do I start? What do I do? They're freaking out. Well, no worries, y'all. We're here to help you out with that. But before we do that, let's remind the people at home, DL, where they can follow us on our socials. On Twitter, where can they follow us?
Tweet, FFG.
And as always, y'all, use the hashtag
AskUsFFG.
And finally, if you want to send some emails, I saw some come through last 24 to 48 hours. What is the email?
AskUsFFG@gmail.com.
And if you prefer to send text messages, pictures, live calls, voicemails, you can call us at 773-225-5648. That is DL's personal number, so it's out there. Do what you want with that information. And please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and
smash
that notification button. That way you know when we go live. We're on Instagram, Facebook. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Oh, and TikTok. Just throw that in there.
Yeah, we got TikTok now. So we have a question that came flooding in from Ryan, I believe. He says, "Hey fellas, would you start at flex? Who would you start at flex? Singletary, Chrome, Rodriguez, or Chuba off waivers?" Interesting. Here's the thing. I do like Singletary because he is right there at the goal line. Quorum had amazing garbage time pickup in the last game because the Rams are beating the pants off Arizona. Although I would keep him, I would say he is a good flex spot because he kind of runs in tandem with Williams. So I don't know. I think I would probably start out of all these guys. I would probably start Chrome if I had to at a flex.
This is tough, bro. This one's tough. I think here goes my order, okay? You tell me what you think. I'm going I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going Chris Rodriguez 1 and Chuba Hubbard 1A. Okay? And then I'm going Singletary and then I'm going Chuba. Now, you know what? Correct me if I'm wrong, DL.
I'll try.
The Giants this week have a good matchup, don't they?
I believe so. You were talking, and I was looking up the schedule as you were moving ahead because I had a feeling because I was thinking that too. Okay, so the Giants are playing, wait for it, against December 14th, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. No, or 5th.
The Commanders.
There it is.
Okay, that changes everything. So, okay, Singletary. Go ahead.
No, so go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, so that changes everything in my mind. I would go Singletary 1, then I would go Chris Rodriguez 2, then I would go Chuba 3, Corum 4.
Why? Why are you going way against my prediction? Why do you think those guys are better than Quorum, who just had he outscored actually Kyron Williams? So
and that's my boy. You know, that's my boy.
Yeah, mine too. I got him got me into the playoffs. Not gonna lie. So why do you feel like those guys are a little bit ahead of them?
Okay, the reason is because for Blake, Kyron is still the guy. He's still out touching him. He's still out snap. He's got better snap share. He had 13 touches. I think Corum had 7 or 8, if I'm not mistaken, this past week. Can we fact check that? So based on that alone, Corum moves down the totem pole for me. Rodriguez is the guy. So that I put Rodriguez ahead of Corum just based on that. Rodriguez, it's just Rodriguez. It's his backfield now. Then Chuba's a proven commodity. It looks like Rico Dotto ran out of gas, and Chuba took that job back again. And that offense is clicking. I like what the Panthers have been able to do, this past few weeks. It looks like, they're pretty damn good, man. They're moving the ball. So I like what Chuba offers. But for me, Singletary is just in a better position. He goes up against a not-so-good defense from the Washington Commanders, and there's no other running back there to give the ball to. It's literally going to be Singletary getting the rock 15 to 18 times. And the real thing here, DL, is if you're in a PPR league, the best catching running back of all these guys is going to be Singletary. He's going to give you some numbers in the pass game. So keep that in mind. I just would go Singletary for that.
I don't know, man, because the stat line for week 14 for Blake, 12 attempts, 128 yards. Woo! And two touchdowns.
Woo!
Not 1, 2. He outscored Kyron. Week before that, he had 7 attempts, 81 yards, and a touchdown. So it's back-to-back games where he's scoring. That's why I like him a little bit better. However, he is going up against Detroit this week, then Seattle, then Atlanta. But for this week, I don't know, man. Yeah. Rodriguez, but the Giants are pretty good against the run. I don't know. That's a good one. It's a really good question. I'm still gonna stick. I'm still gonna stick. Yeah, really good. I'm gonna stick with my suggestion.
Who's your number one? Corum?
I would say Corum. Okay. I would go Corum, Singletary, Rodriguez.
Okay.
Chuba, I would.
Last guy.
Yeah, well, I don't know because
It's tough.
Chuba's a little bit.
It's such a good question.
Chuba's tough.
Yeah.
It is a good question because the only thing makes me worried about Chuba is that split with Rico. Like I just feel like it's a hot hand. It's like once who's ever getting the ball, they're just like, I'm going, like, run it down your throat.
Yeah, I'm going.
But I mean, I've been thinking about picking up Chuba myself because I was like, man.
How about this? Who's got the highest upside and who's got the safest floor? Let's give him that. Where are you at there? I think the highest upside is probably Corum, right? Just based on what you've seen the last few weeks. And who's the safest guy?
Probably Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And that brings us to our next little segment when we get into it about our top 10, actually, top 10, what did I call it? Top 10 things for playoffs. Okay. Playoff tips. Top 10 fantasy playoff tips. So I guess we'll just dive right into it. First things first, we're going to recommend start your studs. Don't bench your starts because of the matchup. Studs win playoff weeks. And don't forget, that's probably why you're in the playoffs, right? Next, I want to go ahead and say handcuff everything. Protect your RB you rely on. One injury can end your season. That also goes for, grabbing backups for actual, some of these starters like Chrome would be a good one. There's another one too. Backup for, he's going to be in our waivers later on, but the backup, Jalen Warren, I want to say. Not Warren. Who the hell is he? Anyways, Wright, the backup for
Miami Dolphins.
Right. There you go. He's a good one to grab in case something happens, which HN is dealing with a little rib action. Okay. So moving on, prioritize the floor. Consistency is better than boomer bust. Avoid landmines. So, which brings us up, right? Rodriguez is actually, is DL good? Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm living the dream, bro. That's it. All right, man. Okay, so moving on. The floor. That's why I recommend Rodriguez has that floor, right? It's it's going to be consistent. He's going to get the volume. He's not splitting it with anyone. Bill, even if Bill does kind of give him like a down off or what have you, it's still good, right? Okay. Stream defenses early, right? Grab a defense for this week and next week before your opponent does, right? Can't stress that enough. Start looking ahead. We got 3 weeks left in fantasy. So, man, especially if you're like me in some other leagues where I got to buy this week, it's like, all right. Let's go ahead and grab some guys. I don't have to sweat. It's so awesome. I don't have to sweat it. Yes. And my other leagues, I am awesome. In JC's home league, I'm not. And I think they're forgetting that. So it's okay. I'll remind them next year. Okay. And block it. The fifth point or tip would be block your opponent. If they need a tight end or RB, grab the top guy first. Defense wins championships. Number 6, watch the weather. Wind, snow, rain. Downgrades wide receivers, upgrades running backs, and tight ends.
Watch out for kickers too with the weather. You're kicking in the snow. You're up in Chicago or you're in Green Bay and you're kicking in the snow. You probably don't want to start those kickers. Or you got a windy ass day in Philly. You're not going to get anything from those kickers. And those, how many points did Aubrey get this past week? Over 15, over 16 points. It was an insane amount of points. Yeah, he's not doing that in a crazy Chicago wind game. It's not going to happen. So keep in mind, that's a really good point.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Don't trust questionable stars. If a guy is limited all week, he rarely hits his ceiling. Number 8, cut your dead weight. Drop backup quarterbacks, wide receivers. Fill your bench with handcuffs and high usage running backs. Number 9, scout your opponent. Know their holes and attack them. So if they need a tight end, grab the top tight end options for that week. Make sure, at this point, your bench is just kind of like a safety valve in a way. It's not like the regular season, right? So, yeah, it's okay to carry 3 tight ends on your bench if that is going to help you get an edge. And number 10, start usage, not names. Start players getting touches, not players with hype. So that was our top 10. I don't know, JC, if you want to add a couple more that I didn't cover, or any past stuff. Okay, great.
The past and stuff that has happened. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll go back something like 10, 11 years. I made a fatal mistake where there was games on Thursday, games on Sunday, games on Monday, and the guys who had games on Monday, I put in my flex, and that was stupid. And the reason why that's stupid is because you really limit yourself. Now I had basically a running back that I put in the flex, and then when Sunday hit, I didn't give myself any room basically to manipulate my lineup, to change my lineup around, because I married myself to a position, to the flex position where I put a running back. Now I had to fill up other spots with one position. So that was stupid, and it cost me. I had guys on my bench that I could have started in the flex instead, and I messed that up, man. I messed that up. So be careful. Keep an eye on the matchups. Keep an eye on the schedule. If you have guys going on Thursday, put them in your positions. Don't take up a flex spot. Just
great advice. Yeah. You never know. Something. I mean, we've seen it all year. Somebody gets sick, right? All of a sudden they're dealing with a flu, or they were in practice and they messed up their knee and now they're questionable to start. Well, fuck. Now you're screwed, right? Yeah. The other thing I would say, I'm trying to think. Yeah, what I kind of mentioned in the tips is like look at usage. I remember in 2015, Tim Hightower won me my fantasy championship. Why? Because he was the backup running back and nobody grabbed him. I was like, all right, that's the only guy I can start. And he got like 30-some points. Brian remembers that game because I beat the crap out of him. All right.
Jonas Gray Jonas Gray, small little 5'8" running back for the Patriots, had like 3 touchdowns in a game, and he won me a league. So
see?
Don't be afraid of guys. Yeah.
And the other thing I will say too is that it is now playoffs. So it's kind of like a reset, right? You drafted, you got there, you did your due diligence. But as JC has said countless times, don't fall in love with your guys, right? Yeah. Like Ricky Pearsall, I'm dropping his ass everywhere. Sucks, but because you don't want that dead weight on your bench. You want somebody like, all right, cool. The way I look at it is if I look at my bench, every person that's named there, I'm like, yes, I would start him. If like my, number one went down.
So what are you doing with like a guy like Drake London who has been out, who, may or may not play this week? He's questionable right now. If they say, hey, he's playing, are you putting him in? Are you throwing him in? Because this past week, I'll give you another guy. Amon-Ra St. Brown was hurt, and you got to see him. Good one. You got to see him minutes, like literally 20 minutes before the game started in warm-ups, and you were seeing him cut. He looked fine. But it came down to 20 minutes. Some people don't have the ability to go back in and change their lineup 20 minutes before it's time to go. What are you doing with a guy like Drake London, DL? A guy who's hurt, who's questionable. Are you setting them in the lineup and forgetting it, or are you, how are you playing with a guy like that? What are you doing?
Yeah, I always go by the rule of thumb, and this is what I did last week because I had Amon-Ra too. Start your studs. Always start your studs because I'd rather get like 10 points in my lineup versus 30 points on my bench. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah. Right? Oh, I didn't start him. And I saw a whole bunch of people, oh, he's a decoy, blah, blah, blah. Granted, they threw to him right away. And he didn't have a monster game. I think he got me like 15 points. But like I said, I'd rather have that than looking at my bench and like losing by 2 points. And if I would have started him, that's the worst feeling. It's like, oh, why didn't I start him? Right. So that would be my suggestion. Another suggestion would be like, look at Atlanta's like matchup, right? What kind of defense are they going against? They're going up against like the number one defense against wide receivers. Maybe you don't want to, right? Also, like if you're monitoring, which sounds like you are, the actual like practicing reports, that should give you indication as well too. Like he should have like a full participation. The Amon-Ra was crazy because he didn't practice at all. I didn't think I was going to start him at all. Yeah. And I won't lie, I texted JC. I was like, dude, are you starting him? Because I think I want to start him, but like, I don't know.
Special case because he's like the toughest SOB at the wide receiver position. And like, it's kind of a known thing that the guy doesn't miss games. He prides himself on that. So yeah, it's, I kind of had a feeling he was going to go, But I don't know. This whole Drake London thing's kind of scaring me. Lastly, Dia, and then we'll move on. If you have a bye week, start positioning yourself. Okay, don't just forget your lineup and say, I have a bye. I'm not even going to look at it. No. Pay attention to your team. Pay attention to who's hot and who's not on your team, because this is very much a what have you done for me lately situation in the playoffs. And if you have the ability to drop a guy or two on your bench, get another defense for a week or two in advance if you can. If you can, look at quarterback matchups. Don't be afraid to bench your star quarterback. If he has a bad, this is it. It's win or go home. I'll give you an example. I had Jalen Hurts this past week and Jared Goff, and I benched Jalen Hurts and I played Jared Goff. Jalen Hurts had -1 points. -1 points. That's what he finished with. And Jared Goff had 21. You can't be afraid. I know DLs like saying start your studs, and I'm with you on that. But also, don't be afraid. If you have an inkling, or if there's information out there, or you trust your favorite experts like us, don't be afraid to make that switch, to start that backup. Like a Tyler Shuck, who's been killing. That guy's been incredible. Jacoby Brissett has been incredible. Guys like that, don't be afraid to go get those guys. A Mariota, who's been incredible. Don't be afraid to go get one of those guys. Like, I would have started Mariota over Jalen Hurts last week, and people would have thought I was crazy. But you have to do what you got to do. So
yeah, especially like once again, look at the prior weeks. Yeah, and as we threw in that tip once again, I think it's don't trust usage, not names, right? Like because it doesn't matter at this point. You got to look at the matchup. You got to look at it like you got to forget how you got there and look at it just with fresh eyes and be like, Absolutely. Is this a good matchup? How have they been playing? What's their production looking like? Especially Jalen Hurts, dude. In my all playing fantasy, I've never seen a quarterback throw interception, get it, and then fumble it, and then lose lose 5 points. I was like, I was godsmacked. I was playing against him. I was like, hell yeah, fuck yeah, that should count. So
it's crazy.
Anywho, so yeah, keep the questions coming. Love it, especially right now. This is your time. No games have started. You still have time to kind of like tinker with your roster. Don't over tinker. Don't play like random names just because they're going up against like the Jets and like, oh, I'm going to start every player going up against it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, cool. So let's get into the news. All right. Coming at you. Breaking news. The old man and the comeback. Philip Rivers returns. That's right, folks. The Colts weren't kidding. 44-year-old Philip Rivers is officially signed to the Indy's practice squad for 4 games left, and their playoffs hope fading. Yeah. So Indy's QB room is cooked. Daniel Jones tore his ACL. He's out for the season. Anthony Richardson, if you forgot, is on IR because he has an orbital fracture. And Riley Leonard has a grade 1 PCL sprain. So the Colts called the old gunslinger Rivers, Rivers, who will mentor Leonard and could be an emergency option if things get worse. So here's a Hall of Fame twist. Rivers is a semi-finalist for the 2026 Hall of Fame. If activated, his eligibility gets pushed back 5 years. If he stays on the practice squad, he remains eligible. Indy remaining schedule. They're going to be at Seattle. Then they're going to play the 49ers, the Jags, and the Texans. It's pretty brutal. So my question to y'all, does Rivers have anything left? He hasn't thrown NFL pass since January of 2021 and has been coaching high school football. The Colts are about to find out, though. Phony homings, yeah, that's where it's at. I don't know if you're excited about him. I don't know if that kind of helped you. It did kind of make me feel a little bit better today when I saw that pop up, just because I have Tyler Warren. And Yeah, I'd rather have River throwing to him versus Riley. Just saying. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. The Philadelphia's offense last Monday night is officially a mess. The rickety old shed that keeps losing parts on the way downhill. And Monday night, the skis fell off. Nick Sirianni said it to himself. That one stinks. And it did. Jalen Hurts turned the ball over 5 times, including one play where he threw a pick, recovered the football, and then fumbled again. The LS Sports Bureau says that's the first time a player has had 2 turnovers on the same play since 1978. It's absolutely chaos. Hurts finished 21 out of 40 with 240 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 picks. 4 with a 31.2 passing rating. His worst game as a pro. But it's not just Hurts. The offense cannot move the ball. The banged-up O-line is killing them. Saquon popped a big run, but outside of that, nothing. The chemistry is off. The timing is off. The offense looks like it's never practiced together. And here's the craziest part. The Eagles haven't scored more than 21 points since week 8. Since the bye, it's been 10, 16, 21, 15, 19. If not for Vic Fangio's defense, the 3-game losing streak could easily be 5. And despite all of this, the Eagles have a 92% chance of winning the division. The Cowboys are hanging around, but Philly somehow remains in control. But unless the offense actually wakes up, the control won't last for long. So, kind of weird. But I think the Eagles fans, you've been here before. All right, heading out, here's some breaking news. Zach Ertz is out for the season. The Commanders got brutal news. Veteran tight end Zach Ertz is officially out for the rest of the season after tearing his ACL in Sunday's loss to Minnesota. So here's what happened. Ertz went down in the second half after taking a hit from Viking safety Jay Ward while trying to reel in a pass from Marcus Mariota. He had to be helped off the field, carted to the locker room, and never returned. Monday's tests did confirm that the fear, torn ACL. So obviously this is a huge loss for Jaden Daniels. Ertz, 35, was one of Daniels' most trusted targets and a veteran leader in the offense. This season alone, he had 50 receptions, 504 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Last season, during Washington's turnaround, he had 66 catches, 654 yards, and 7 TDs. He re-signed this offseason to be a stabilizing force, and he was exactly that. With Ertz at 35 and coming off a major ACL tear, it's fair to ask, has he played his last snap in the NFL? If so, what a career. He had 825 receptions, 5 amongst all tight ends. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion with the Eagles, and one of the most reliable tight ends in a decade. The Commanders sit at 3-10 and now lose one of their emotional leaders and a key pass catcher. Dan Quinn called it. Tough news. Both the team and the locker room. Ertz absent means more pressure on the young receivers and more responsibilities on Jaden Daniels to carry the offense without his safety blanket. And that'd be the news. The biggest news so far.
Yeah.
I don't think he plays again.
Yeah, you got to feel bad for Zach Ertz, man. Honestly, it's a shitty way to go. You never want to see somebody go out like that, go on their shield. But, these guys are warriors. This is part of the game. It's kind of how it goes down. You saw the reactions. You saw Mariota go up to him. A lot of teammates go up to him. The guy was crying, obviously, and I think it's because he knows. He knows this is not the way he wanted to go out. I think he knew this was going to be it for him. If I'm not mistaken, I think he signed a contract that allowed him to go in another year, I believe. But yeah, man, to come back from that, it's basically a year. It's a year-long recovery, and he's an older 35. Guy.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Father Time isn't really holding back a lot of these players. Well, especially QBs. I mean, for God's sakes, Phillip Rivers is on a practice squad, and he's like 44.
Crazy. That's a crazy story.
Yeah, I thought that was a joke. Someone threw that in our chat. It was Brian, actually. Brian threw it in our group chat. And I was like, dude, okay, someone's messing with you. Get off Facebook. And all of a sudden, today it's popping up. I'm like, oh my God, he was right. It's crazy, bro. Crazy. Yeah, man. I mean, overall, like, it just sucks. And, like, this past week was really weird. There was quite a bit of, like, underperforming players throughout the week. So a lot of people, like, who thought it wasn't just Hurts. I mean, take a look at this. I found this. Here's all the players that underperformed last week. So you got DJ Moore, Mark Andrews, Justin Jefferson, which isn't crazy. They haven't had the best season. But Emeka Ibuka, is it time to pull the plug on him? Is he done? Because he really hasn't had a good game in a while. Tyler Warren, which I kind of mentioned, obviously that's because of Daniel Jones going out. Kenneth Walker III. This has been like the craziest one because like coming into the season, I thought this was your guy. I thought this was the guy who's going to, like, you know, yes, you need to draft him. Brees Hall, Ashton Genty. Devontae Adams had a down game on the Rams. He was, like, one of the top targets. Just trying to see who else. George Pickens. That was crazy. That dude, like, CeeDee Lamb goes out, and he's still just kind of, like, not – I don't know. It was weird. It didn't seem like he was really, like, wanting it. I don't know. And then Bijan Robinson. That's a lot of that. If you had him on your team, you're probably ranked or you're like second place in your league. And hopefully you weren't trying to push for the playoffs, but that could have hurt you. And Jamar Chase, although that was like a snow game, which I get, but man, Burrow looked good in that game, but Chase just wasn't having it. I don't know. I just, this popped out to me. I was like, holy smokes, that's a lot of players in 1 week to not even hit normal. They underperform. I don't know if you got thoughts on that or what.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. There's some concerning names on there, like DJ Moore. I think they're going to force the ball to him this week just because of like what's been coming out in the media, I guess, lately. In regards to DJ Moore not getting looks from Caleb. And I think Caleb's going to, force feed him. I think that's what's going to happen. But he hasn't been good. He hasn't been good all year. I don't even think it's these players' fault. Some of them, they're just situation, just coaching, whatever the case is. Genty has not been the kind of guy that people were drafting him to be. He was being drafted in the first round everywhere. He has not performed like a first-round talent. I'll tell you that right now.
My team is ashes to Genty. Yeah. So I know the pain.
Yeah,
I know it.
Yeah.
Thank God for Kyron Williams. Yeah, man, it's been a crazy year, but like I think we talked about this last week. Even it's just like, are teams getting better or players getting worse? Like, what is going on? But it's been like a crazy kind of like production, or like teams are just everyone's good or something. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But anywho, let's talk about some injuries, shall we? All right, let's start things off. Week 14 was absolutely chaos, phony homies. Major names went down, and Week 15 lineups are officially in panic mode. Because why? You're probably sitting in the playoffs, and you're like, crap. I may have lost some of these guys, but we know what you need. So just as a reminder, here are some of the biggest injuries. I didn't cover everyone, just some of the big ones that stood out to me. For the quarterbacks, obviously Daniel Jones tore his Achilles, so he's out for the season. Jaden Daniels, which is crazy. I almost started him over Baker this week. Thank God I didn't. Why? Because he was pulled out of the game with elbow soreness and questionable for Week 15, something to monitor. Quinn did actually say that, like, I could have put him back in, but I didn't want to. I wanted to make sure that we keep him as healthy as possible. So it wasn't like he was forced out. Quinn just made the decision not to put him in that situation. Geno Smith of the Seahawks. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. He's week to week, so he's kind of a risky play. I doubt you were playing him, but he may have been in backup. Heading over to the running backs, Nick Chubb for the Texans is dealing with a rib injury and is likely out for Week 15. So huge boost to Woody Marks. If you saw last night's game, Woody Mark was looking good. So keep him in your lineup. Devon A-Chain for the Dolphins, also rib injury. It's not broken. That was kind of scary, man. He was having a heck of a game against the Jets. But something to monitor. But be ready to pivot to Mozart or Jalen Wright. So far, things are looking like he is going to play on Monday. But still, if it's anything in the ribs, not fun. It's more of a pain tolerance. Thank goodness it's not broken. For the wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb of the Cowboys on Thursday night got concussed. So he has a 10-day window giving him a chance, but still day-to-day. The coach actually said he's progressing quite well. So I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be back in. Even, I want to say on Thursday night, he was like yelling at people. He's like, I'm fine. I'm okay. Like, let me back in. And they're just like, no, you got to sit this one out. But he's having a heck of a game too. T. Higgins, this thing. So the Bengals is back in concussion protocol. Major week 15 doubt. So we got some waivers you may want to pay attention to. Garrett Wilson for the Jets, knee injury. He was placed on IR, so his fantasy season is over. And then lastly, we were just kind of talking about this. Drake London of the Falcons, knee issue remains in monitor status for week 15. Already did a long segment about Zach Ertz. But those were the big ones that kind of stuck out to me. I don't know, JC, did I miss anyone? Anyone stick out to you? Dang, dude, we are flying today. It's awesome. Okay. Should we do it? Are you guys ready? Wait 1 second before we do it. See if there's actually any questions. No, it's just Brian letting us know where he lives. Brian knew that about Phillip Rivers because he actually lives in Indianapolis. So, in case you were wondering. All right, let's hit those waivers.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and adjust this because we got a lot to talk about, y'all. Let's go ahead and jump into the quarterbacks this week as far as the waiver wire goes. Guys you should add and guys you should drop. We'll go ahead and jump into guys that you should drop. That number one guy, unfortunately, is Daniel Jones of the Giants. He's rostered in 94% of leagues. Unfortunately, he did tear his Achilles and he's out for the rest of the season. There's really no reason to hold on to him in any format besides Dynasty. If you have IR slots in Dynasty, that is. Second guy you can go ahead and drop is Tua. You can go ahead and drop him. Unfortunately, he's fallen off a cliff for fantasy. In 5 straight games, he has 14.8 points or fewer, so under 15 points in 5 straight games. And the offense just isn't supporting him as a reliable streamer anymore. In 1 QB leagues, he's a safe drop. In 2 QB leagues, you can still hold on a little bit, but outside of that, he's really just a shaky QB too. The next guy you could go ahead and drop is Riley Leonard. I know DL did mention it a little earlier. Even if he does return to play, the Colts offense is broken, and you can see it. He's only worth holding in super deep super flex leagues. In standard leagues, though, redraft leagues, you can go ahead and drop him. And finally, Kenny Pickett of the Raiders. Even if he starts for Vegas, the ceiling is near 0, and the floor is terrifying, to be honest. He's only an in case of an emergency kind of option in super flex leagues. You could go ahead and drop him. I did see he was rostered in a few leagues out there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into guys that you should add off the waiver wire, okay? The number one option continues to be, and I think we're going on 4 weeks now, that's Marcus Mariota of the Commanders. He's rostered in only 33% of leagues, and I'm telling you now that number has to change. It has to jump up and hover around 55, 60%. The reason is, well, the Commanders take on the Giants this week. And if Jaden Daniels sits again, which I don't see why they would play him with the way Mariota's been playing, you should let the guy heal, considering he, hurt his arm. Mariota becomes a legitimate Week 15 streamer if Daniels sits. He's made 6 spot starts this year, and his top 20 fantasy points in 4 of those 6, thanks to his rushing floor. The Giants have allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to QBs, and with how often Washington pushes the pace, Mariota is firmly on the borderline of a QB1, which basically means he's a top 12 quarterback this week. The second guy you should go out and add, and stream this week is CJ Stroud of the Texans, who's rostered in 57% of leagues. I know we recommend 50% or less, but because it's playoff time, I threw him in here. And that's because the Texans take on the Cardinals this week. Now, Stroud hasn't looked like the same 2023 self since returning from his concussion, but the volume and his upcoming schedule will put him in play for this ad. Now, he gets Arizona this week. Then he plays the Raiders in Week 16, who are very beatable. And after that, he's got just a good, easy schedule to finish the season. He has 2 22-point games in his last 3 home starts, making him a strong low-end QB1 if you're hurting for a QB. The third guy we're going to recommend is Tyler Shough of the New Orleans Saints. He's rostered in 25% of fantasy leagues, and the Saints take on the Panthers this week. Now, Tyler has quietly strung together usable fantasy weeks, posting 21 or more fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games. He already put up 22.9 on Carolina earlier this season, and he gets them again this week at home. With matchups against the Jets and Titans after this week, he's one of the rare pick up and ride for a few week kind of guys. If he's available, you can go out and start him with confidence. The fourth guy, a name that I can't believe I'm going to say. I have some friends out there in Cleveland, but that's Shedeur Sanders, who's rostered in 21% of fantasy leagues. And the reason why we're recommending him is because he plays against a middle-of-the-pack Bears defense. Now, Sanders erupted for 39.5 fantasy points last week, which is insane, flashing the ceiling that made him a preseason sleeper. It came in a favorable matchup, and Chicago is another favorable matchup. The Bears have allowed the 7th most points to QBs, and Sanders has combined for 393 yards and 4 touchdowns last Sunday, and that hints at having that high upside. So you don't have to trust him in 1 QB leagues, but he's absolutely in play for desperate teams. So if you're needing a quarterback, let's say that you were the Daniel Jones manager, I would absolutely try to get Tyler Shough or Shedeur Sanders and start them with confidence. The last guy we're going to recommend, a name that we told you to drop 2 weeks ago, but he's back on here again. That's J.J. McCarthy, and that's only if you're desperate. He's rostered in 29% of fantasy leagues, and the reason why we're recommending him is because McCarthy takes on the worst defense in the NFL, the Cowboys defense. Now, he did follow McCarthy followed the matchup script perfectly last week, tossing 3 scores against a weak Washington defense. Now he gets the worst defense in fantasy, the Cowboys, but not in the way that you think. They've been shredded, the Cowboys, repeatedly, and are now a matchup that everyone should target. Whoever the Cowboys are playing, start that quarterback, okay? With the Giants and Lions ahead, McCarthy has one of the best fantasy playoff schedules of any streaming quarterback. DL?
I like it. I like it a lot. I caught the mute. I got the mute there. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little cautious with the Cowboys defense, not gonna lie, because they are looking a little bit better ever since they got Williams. I believe that's his name. So they are still the worst, but just kind of keep that in mind. They're not like garbage. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about those running backs. So, drop candidates. You can go ahead and drop Trey Benson. He's still dealing with a knee injury, likely done for the year. So, yeah, drop him. Isaiah Pacheco, 12 carries for 46 yards in 2 games since returning, 0 upside, unless Kareem Hunt gets hurt. So it's kind of weird. They kind of flip-flopped. And then lastly, if you're still hanging on to him, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt or Bill, another dud, 3.2 PPR points last week. He's been under 6 PPR in 8 straight games. It was super easy to drop. So here are the running backs you should pick up. I'm going to start things off, pick them up in this order. So prioritize in the order I'm about to give them. First guy we're going to prioritize is Jalen Wright. He's a running back for the Dolphins. He's only 3% rostered. He's going against Pittsburgh. Devon Achane should play on Monday night, but because it's Monday night, every Achane manager needs to add Jalen Wright as insurance. When Achane went down last week, Wright went off for 24 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. If Achane has any setback, Wright becomes an instant flex with real upside. We're recommending about spending 5% of your FAAB to secure him. If you're thinking deep leagues, maybe take a shot at Ollie Gordon. He scored last week and is only rostered at 27%. Next recommendation we're going to say is Devin Singletary. Running back for the Giants, he's only at 43% rostered. He's going out against the Commanders. Tyrone Tracy Jr. hurt his hip before the bye, and even though he should be okay, you need to watch his status. If Tracy is limited or out, Devin Singletary becomes a must-add. Last game after Tracy went down, Singletary put up 12 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown. With 3 catches, 34 yards. He scored 17 PPR points in 2 of his last 3 games. So, Tracy plays, Singletary is a flex option. If Tracy's out, Singletary becomes a running back 2 in all leagues, especially with matchups versus Washington, Vegas, in Week 17. Spend about 5% of your FAAB to grab him. Next guy we already kind of talked about would be Blake Corum of the LA Rams. He's 56% rostered. He's going up against Detroit. Blake Corum is heating up. Last week versus Arizona, as I mentioned before, 12 carries, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. Average was about 26.1 PPR points. He's now hit 14 plus points in back-to-back games. He's had 7 carries in 7 straight. Chrome continues to work behind Kyren Williams, but when he scores, he's a legit flex play. If Kyren ever misses time, obviously, Corum becomes a must-start RB2 in every league. Strong matchup this week. No, Lions are number 1 against the running back, but the touches, goal lines, work will keep him flex worthy. Spend about 5% of your FAAB. Next guy, Dylan Sampson, running back for the Browns. He's only 14% rostered. He is going up against the Bears. Dylan Sampson now has played 2 full games with Shadur Sanders, and he scored 9.8 points in both of them. Last week versus Tennessee, he had 5 catches for 64 yards and 6 targets, plus a couple carries. This dude is a receiving weapon. So PPR formats, this is your guy. If Sanders first start, 2 catches, 59 yards, and a touchdown. He's splitting with Judkins, but Sampson's role in the passing game makes him a flex worthy, and especially deeper leagues. Next guy we're going to go ahead and recommend is Samaje Perine. He's only 12% rostered. He's going up against the Ravens. Obviously, Chase Brown is still the lead back in Cincinnati, but Samaje Perine has a real role here. Since returning from his ankle injury in Week 13 versus Baltimore, he had 14 carries for 39 yards, 2 catches for 15. Week 14 against Buffalo had 6 carries for 31 yards, 1 catch for 7. Nothing flashy, but steady volume, and he's trending up. With a high-scoring matchup versus Baltimore in a 22nd ranked RB defense, Perine is a deep league flex this week. And obviously, if Chase goes down, he becomes a usable RB2. We're recommending about 1% of your FAAB. So that would be my recommendations, or ours, for running back. JC?
Some really good names in there. I especially liked the Dylan Sampson name. Just a guy who I think is very, very fast. A guy who I feel like we've talked about a few times on the pod so far this year. And then Corum, man. I'm not too worried about Kyren Williams. I think they could definitely feed both running backs and have both of them be fantasy relevant. I do think that Kyren Williams does drop down from his QB1 conversation, being a top 12 running back, to probably a top 15 to 18 running back now. Well, let me rephrase. So 14 to 16, somewhere in that range, probably. Not the end of the world, but still, that Corum dipping into that. Those are red zone touches that they're giving to Corum now.
And we talked about last week, especially in the last week, Week 17, they may want to kick the tires and see what they got, especially since the Rams are projected to go all the way this year. They may want to give, Kyren a little bit of a rest. In fact, the coach even said that in the game against Arizona. He was like, yeah, we just wanted to kind of rest up Kyren, so we just let Blake have a couple touches. So goes to show you we were right. Anyways.
All right, let's jump into wide receivers. And these are the wide receivers that you can drop safely. The first guy is going to be the unfortunate wide receiver we've been talking up for many weeks. That's Troy Franklin of the Denver Broncos, who's rostered in 88% of fantasy leagues as he takes on the Cincinnati Bengals this week. Now, the role just isn't there anymore. With Marvin Mims rotating in heavily, Franklin has now only gotten 5 catches for 32 yards over his last 2 games. He's now the wide receiver 3, maybe 4 even, in a low-volume offense, and he's not worth holding on to in the fantasy playoffs. The second guy you can go ahead and drop is Romeo Doubs of the Packers, who is rostered in 86% of fantasy leagues. This week, they take on a good defense, but unfortunately, the reason why we're recommending to cut him is because he has a total of 9 targets over the last 3 weeks. That's it. And this past week, he got a goose egg. He had 0 points. So you could go ahead and drop him, especially because Jaden Reed's back. Third guy, a guy that DL talked about earlier, Ricky Pearsall. You can go ahead and drop him. You could go ahead and drop him. Unfortunately, he's had only 5 catches, 20 yards, and 0 touchdowns over his last 3 games. Fourth guy you could go ahead and drop is Raiders wide receiver Trey Tucker, who's rostered in 64% of fantasy leagues. Unfortunately, Tucker has scored under 6.9 points in 5 of his last 6 games, and now Vegas is getting healthier at the wide receiver position. With terrible quarterback play and terrible quarterback uncertainty, you can go ahead and drop Trey Tucker. Let's get to the guys that you should add for this week. The number 1 wide receiver was a guy I had. I put him in our bonus section at wide receiver, and I told everybody out there, whoever would listen, go add this guy. That's Luther Burden III for the Bears. As this week, the Bears take on a really good Cleveland Browns defense. Now, with Rome Odunze still sidelined, Burden had stepped up directly into an expanded role, logging in 6 targets this past week and turning them into 67 receiving yards. Even with a difficult stretch of opponents, with Cleveland coming up, Green Bay, and then San Francisco, Chicago clearly wants the rookie involved, and the volume alone keeps him in the wide receiver 3 conversation. If he's available, you can go ahead and add him for about 5% of your FAAB budget and put him in your flex confidently. The second guy we're going to recommend is Jaden Reed of the Green Bay Packers, who's rostered in 50% of fantasy leagues. Now, Reed immediately reestablished himself after returning from injury, handling 6 touches and looking like the most dynamic Packer on the field. His snap share should rise quickly, and he has a solid matchup coming up this week. You should be confident in starting him as he takes on the Bears and then Baltimore in 2 weeks. The third guy we're going to recommend is Ryan Florney of the Cowboys. He's rostered in 20% of fantasy leagues, depending on which platform you use. I've seen 18, I've seen 20. And the reason why we're recommending to add him is it looks like CeeDee Lamb may miss a week. DL, do we know if he's going to miss some time? Just curious.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, like I said before, it looks his coach has said that he's progressing really well. So that's why I kind of put him in the window. He may play, but obviously keep monitoring.
Okay. All right. If CeeDee Lamb were to miss time, Florney becomes a priority streamer at the wide receiver position. This past week, he exploded for 9 receptions, 115 receiving yards, and a touchdown on 13 targets after Lamb exited the game. Now, Minnesota this week is going to be a difficult opponent for the Cowboys because they do have a good defense, but Dak seems to trust them, and the targets will definitely be there if Lamb is out. We recommend spending about 4 to 5% of your FAAB budget. The fourth guy we're going to recommend is a guy who's been in this column all year. That's Chimere Dike of the Titans, who's rostered in only 15% of leagues. Now, Dike has turned heads every week, and now he's turning high volume into real fantasy production with 13.4 PPR points in all 3 games where he's seen 7 or more targets. Tennessee clearly wants him involved, and even in a rough matchup this week with San Francisco, the target volume should stay relevant. He's a wide receiver 3 or 4 with room to grow. We recommend spending about 3% of your FAAB. The last guy we're going to recommend is Darius Slayton of the Giants, who's only rostered in 27% of fantasy leagues, and the Giants take on the Commanders this week. So Slayton has been quietly consistent with Jackson Dart, posting 11 or more PPR points in 3 straight games. The matchup this week against Washington is a dream. The Commanders allow top 10 wide receiver production to wide receivers, and Slayton is running a full route share again. He's a strong wide receiver 3 candidate this week, and a guy that we would tell you to go ahead and flex confidently. We recommend about 3 to 4% of your FAAB for Darius Slayton. DL?
Every time. You think after COVID, you would check that like right away. Yeah, I think the biggest pickup would be Jaden Reed. Actually got alerted. You guys should download Sleeper app because they let you know like ahead of time. So as soon as it was like, oh, they're activating him off IR, I was like, grab. The dude is dynamic. He's ridiculously fast. And you saw the Packers use him right away. Like they didn't even hesitate, and he looked good. I only see his volume moving up. Before we get into tight ends, I just wanted to make JC know this and all of our other phony homies that Scotty said we helped him finish 13 wins.
Yeah,
let's go. See? Thanks, Scotty.
For all those people out there that don't tune in. You see, there you go. 13-1. But let's be real. Scotty's a genius too, though. Scotty knows his stuff.
Scotty knows his stuff. He used to come in my office a lot, ask me questions. Yeah. All right, cool.
Scotty does know.
Scotty does know. Okay.
All right.
Tight ends. All right. So let's start things off. We're in the playoffs, so these guys you can go ahead and drop. Obviously, Zach Ertz, he's out for the rest of the season. Drop him, right? K. Dunn. I think I mentioned his name every week. A couple of these guys I mentioned a couple times every week. So K. Dotton, again, 4 straight games under 6 points. And now Mike Evans comes back and Jalen McLaughlin are back. Less volume, less upside. Drop him. Drop him like he's hot. David Njoku. Now, David Njoku had a pretty decent game last week. However, he left week 14 with a knee injury. Even before that, Fannin took over the passing game. Low volume, no consistency. Not going to help you win the fantasy playoffs. And lastly, I'm going to recommend to drop Evan Ingram. Only 2 catches for 8 yards last week. He has scored 7.6 PPR or less in 5 of his last 6 games. He hasn't scored a touchdown since week 5. You kind of need those. So drop him. Drop him like he's hot. Instead, pick up these guys. We're going to recommend starting off with Isaiah Likely. He's a tight end for the Ravens. He's 20% rostered. He's going against Cincinnati. Isaiah Likely had a crazy last 2 weeks. Should have had 2 extra touchdowns. 1 overturned in week 14 and 1 fumbled at the goal line in week 13. Even with bad luck, he still produces. 9 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown. 12.5 PPR points in back-to-back games. Now he gets the Bengals. Again, the worst team in NFL versus tight ends. They ranked 32nd out of 32 teams. Likely is a low-end tight end 1. This week, add him everywhere. We're recommending spending at least 5 to 10% of your FAAB. Next guy, recommended him last week, but just in case you didn't grab him, Colston Loveland of the Chicago Bears. 62% rostered. He's going up against the Browns. Loveland is starting to heat up. Last game versus Green Bay, 4 catches, 29 yards, and a touchdown. He has now scored 12-plus points in 2 of his last 3 games. With Rome Odunze banged up, the Bears need Loveland to stay involved. And he's becoming one of Caleb Williams' go-to red zone guys. Week 15's matchup versus Brown, tough defense, but Loveland's role is growing. He's a low-end tight end 1 this week, and in all leagues. Once again, for your FAAB, we're recommending 5 to 10%. Next guy up, Dalton Schultz of the Texans. He's only 59% rostered. He's going up against the Cardinals. Now, Schultz did have a quiet week 14 with just 3 catches for 22 yards. Don't let that scare you. He now gets the Arizona Cardinals, a defense that's top 10 in fantasy points allowed to tight ends. Before last week, Schultz had 11 plus points in 4 out of his 6 games. He's still heavily involved and still a trusted target. This week, once again, he's a low-end tight end 1, but he is startable in all leagues. We're recommending about 5 to 10% of your FAAB. Next guy up, Mike Gesicki of the Bengals. He's only 3% rostered, and he's going up against the Ravens. Gesicki just had his best game of the season, 6 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown versus Buffalo. And if T. Higgins is out again this week, Gesicki steps right back into a bigger role. Week 15 matchup versus Baltimore isn't easy. They're the top 8 versus tight ends. And Gesicki only had 2 catches for 19 yards against them in week 13. But with Higgins' uncertainty, Gesicki has a clear path to targets. Plus, for the rest of the season, he gets Miami in week 16, Arizona in week 17. Both strong tight end matchups. For FAAB, we're recommending about 5%. Next tight end would be Theo Johnson of the Giants. He's 57% rostered. He's going up against the Commanders. Theo Johnson didn't blow up in week 13. Just 3 catches for 29 yards, but he saw 8 targets. That's the key. He now has 8 targets in back-to-back games with Jackson Dart, and he scored 10-plus points in 3 of his last 5 games. And now he gets Washington, a defense that gives up the 5th most points to tight ends. This matchup, plus a high target volume, equals low-end tight end 1 upside. We're going to recommend adding him for 5% of your FAAB. Next guy, which we talked about last week, and then I guess people weren't paying attention, but you still got a shot for this guy, Colby Parkinson. Obviously, he plays for the Rams. He's only 10% rostered. Now, he is going up against the Lions, but Parkinson is on a heater. He just scored another touchdown in week 14. That's 4 touchdowns in his last 5 games. Last week, he had 3 catches for 32 yards and 5 targets. He's got consistent usage, red zone trusted, real momentum coming on. This week, he gets Detroit, the top 10 matchup for tight ends. Week 16, he has Seattle, one of the best tight end matchups in fantasy. So Parkinson is obviously low-end tight end 1 right now, and he should be rostered everywhere. We're recommending that you spend 5% of your FAAB if you still got it. We're going to talk about Mason Taylor next of the Jets. He's only 18% rostered. He's going up against those Jaguars. So Mason Taylor is quietly becoming a legit tight end streamer. Last week versus Miami, he had 5 catches for 51 yards off 8 targets. Exactly the kind of usage you want to see from a tight end. Now he gets Jacksonville, a defense allowing the 3rd most points to tight ends. It's an amazing matchup. Yes, the QB situation is messy with Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields hurt, but Mason Taylor could still produce with Brady Cook under center. In deeper leagues, he's a sneaky week 15 starter. Probably 1% of your FAAB we'd recommend. And then Ben Sennett of the Commanders, obviously he's 2% rostered because Zach Ertz, right? He's going up against the Giants. With Zach Ertz out for the season, Ben Sutton becomes a name to watch in deeper leagues. He hasn't had big production yet, just 4 catches for 41 yards on the year. But that's because he barely played over 50% of the snaps. Now he steps into a bigger role. The only concern, Jaden Daniels' elbow. Quarterback situations matter, so keep an eye on that. But in deep league, Sutton is a priority stash with a path to targets. And those are the tight ends we recommend for Week 15, first round of playoffs.
That's right. That's right. DL.
Yeah.
By chance, do we have defenses this week?
No, because usually you take those. However,
I'm listening.
I'm thinking. Wait, let me double check. I want to say the 49ers is like a good one because they have a pretty nice schedule.
Okay.
Let me just hold on. Where are my data? I had it. I knew I should have added it. I almost did, but then I was like, no, JC usually does it. It'll be fine. So, yeah, I would recommend like the 49ers are going up against Tennessee this week. Another one I would say is the Vikings. They're going up against the Giants. They're only rostered at 43%. And if you're super desperate, maybe the Saints against the Jets. So, once again, 49ers would be my top. Vikings, Saints.
Okay. I'll do a little different just to be different. 49ers against Tennessee. I think you said the Niners. Jags against the Jets. And Bears versus Cleveland. Oh. Maybe they could get some turnovers.
You know what? I was looking at week 16.
Yeah. Niners against Tennessee. Jags against the Jets. Bears against Cleveland.
There you go. All right.
There we go.
Put a bow on it.
Put a bow in it. I think we got some.
Let's see. Oh, we do. Let's see. This one. Half point PPR. Start to Egram, Arbuka, Michael Wilson, MGH, Sutton, BTJ, and Debo. I'm going to turn this off.
You got to start Michael Wilson. He's a top 10 wide receiver rest of the season.
Yep.
You got to start Michael Wilson.
He blew up.
I would say BTJ. That one's tough.
Michael Wilson for sure. What about Marvin Harrison Jr. though? If he plays, which he could, I think Wilson's stock drops.
Yeah,
Wilson.
Okay. I'm probably going Wilson, Abuka. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. Abuka scares me right now. But the rest aren't really that great.
He's got one more question.
Oh, he's got another one? Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I recommend that. Okay, cool. Next, I have Purdy and Nix as my QB1s. One QB league. Tyler Warren at my TN. Should I drop Nix for Fannin? I do like where he's going with this because Purdy has a really good schedule coming up. Dropping Nix for Fannin. But he already has Tyler Warren at my tight end. Should I drop Nix for Fannin?
I mean, you could do that. Okay. At the very least, if you want to block somebody else from picking up Fannin, because Fannin looks incredible right now.
Yeah. The only thing I would be concerned is if you drop Nix, if you're going up against somebody in the playoffs and they have crappy QB like Lamar, he's not
take that chance. I think you take that chance. I think you do that. You add Fannin, and if Fannin has another good week, you start Fannin over Tyler Warren.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about some of that stuff too.
Sucks, but it just is what it is. Who's the quarterback? 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. We gotta see what he does. Man. I'm gonna have look. I'm happy.
Don't knock him.
An old guy. I'm an old guy now. At 36. So when I see 36-year-olds doing shit, playing basketball in the NBA, playing football at a high level, the Zach Ertz injury sucked because I came out of school. I came out of college with him, high school with him. So I knew Zach Ertz. He's basically like me when I see him. And I'm seeing all these stars retire who are my age. I'm seeing Derrick Rose, who's my age, retire. I'm seeing all these freaking guys retire. And it's like, damn. So when seeing Phillip Rivers come back is awesome. I'm rooting for the old guy, but one bad hit, man. One bad hit, and he's gonna go back home and hang out with his kids.
Wait till you turn 40. See, here's my thing, man. In your 20s and 30s, things work like your body works, right? It listens to you. It listens to you. Like you're just like, oh yeah, I'm good. When you're 40, it doesn't listen to you anymore. It's just like, oh man, yeah. I hope I don't shit my pants. And well, we're shitting our pants, right? Now that happened to me, I'm just saying, your body doesn't respond like it used to. You fucking wake up and you're like, why does my legs hurt? I didn't do anything yesterday. I didn't run. I didn't work out. I fucking did nothing. And
you took
your legs
two
just hurt.
And you got up from the toilet. That's what happened.
Yeah. Dude, I'm just telling you. Wait, just wait, dude. Wait. You're fucking my eyes. I need to go get glasses now. I haven't worn a pair of glasses. I've had 20/20 vision all of my life. All of a sudden, can't read. I can see shit. I can see shit. Yeah, y'all making fun of me because I can't say names right because I'm trying to read it. It's because I'm blind, motherfucker. You're picking on a blind ass motherfucker.
A blind man. He's the original blind mouse over here.
Even my wife is like, you can't see, can you? Oh, we were driving in. We've had that conversation. Like, I don't think you should be driving at night. By the way, yes, Scotty, I am drinking Heineken, but guess what? NA,
baby. NA, boy.
NA.
Go, my guy. Let's go.
Haven't had beer or alcohol. Tomorrow will be a month.
Let's go, my boy.
Yeah, that's right. So you're damn right. Lap your ass off. Go ahead.
Let's go.
If you're drinking non-alcohol beer, those of you who drink it, you know there's some trash ass shit out there.
There's some bad stuff. I'll put you on, bro. The Heineken is good. The Guinness is great. I'm telling you, man, it sounds crazy. It might even be better than the one with alcohol in it. I swear to God.
The one that I like, and this is gonna blow your mind, because story time real quick. I'm an IPA drinker. You know this. If you watch channel, you've seen me like knock back like anti-heroes or whatever.
Yes, all day, every day.
Yeah, exactly. The non-alcoholic beer that I like is Busch.
Oh, really?
Busch, dude, try it. Number one, it's cheaper. That's another thing. How the fuck is non-alcoholic beer?
Price, bro.
It's the same. It's like $20. I'm like, for what? Water. It's carbonated water.
They're bogus.
Check your ID. I was at Target, bought some. The guy's like, I need to see your ID. I'm like, for what?
For not? Yeah, same, bro. Same. When I got it, I was like, for what? Why?
For what? The 0% alcohol. There's no alcohol, and even those like 0.5. Like you'd have to drink like.
You have to drink like 20 in like 3 hours for it to like to show at a level
to even do anything. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, great show, dude.
Great show. Athletic Brewing makes a really good Kolsch.
I do like. You know what?
Really good Kolsch.
I like their hazies, and Lagunitas has stepped it up. I tried their stuff before.
Hop water? Have you done the hop water?
The hop water's amazing.
So good.
I took that to work one time. I was like, hell yeah! What are you gonna do?
It's water, motherfucker.
That one in the hazy, they're hazy like no, it's decent. It's decent, man.
They know what they're doing. Le Chouf. It's got two little L's. Le Chouf with CH. Le Chouf. Two words. Le Chouf. They have it at Jewel.
Okay.
At the Jewels. It's fantastic. Yeah, NA, Le Chouf. Telling you. Nice Belgium.
Awesome.
All right, that's it for today's episode. Phony homie. Share, subscribe, smash that notification button. We'll see you guys on another episode. For DL, Jay, we'll see you guys. Peace.
Good luck in your playoffs.
Good luck.